Okay, thank you very much. My political history started in 1995 when I was elected as a president of the Student Representative Council at the Harare Polytechnic. I became the first president to serve for 2 terms, and I took over from Mr. Ruhanya, who was president before me, and Comrade Lance Guma, I think you know him, from SW Radio, was the Secretary General by then. So I took over for 2 terms. Then when I left, I also left the position to the current president of the MDC, Advocate Nelson Chamisa. He took over as the president from the time that I left. I then went to Zinasu. We revitalized Zinasu. Myself, President Lenmo Jongwe, the late, he was president of Zinasu that time. And I was elected at a Congress of Zinasu to be the Secretary General of Zinasu. And Honorable Molokele, I remember, was elected as Vice President to Lenmo Jongwe. And then I also remember Honorable Job Sikala was elected at that same Congress as the spokesperson of Zinasu. Then from Zinasu, in 1998, I was then seconded to the Southern African Students Union, where I went to represent Zimbabwe, and I stayed there for about 2 years, 3 years. And I then went to the World Congress of the International Union of Students, and I was elected as Secretary for Africa. I went to serve as Secretary for Africa at the headquarters of the International Union of Students in Prague, and I then resigned to come and start campaigning for the MDC in 2001 as we were going for the 2002 presidential elections. Then I then rose within the ranks, starting as a district treasurer in MDC in Mondoro, where I come from. I then was elected a spokesperson for the MDC, Mashonaland West Province, at a Congress, a provincial Congress. Then from there, I went to represent the province in the National Executive. And from the National Executive, I was then elected as the Deputy Treasurer and served under President Shangrai until I was then elected as the Secretary General in Gweru. So that's me as a politician. I don't think a modern party can do away with a Secretary General. We need a Secretary General because the Secretary General's office is the one that drives the administrative capacity of a political party to deliver. It must offer administrative support to the politicians, to the president, to everyone, so that they can deliver on their political mandate. The problem that we have had has not been the problem of the SG's office. No, this is why we are here. People must know that you don't automatically become a presidential candidate because you have been elected in SG. People elect you in SG to serve for a particular purpose. That's where when people went to Gweru, to the Congress, they knew the type of Secretary General that they want. They wanted a Secretary General that concentrated only on making sure that the administrative capacity of the party is enhanced, that the party is well resourced, that the party is strong, efficient, and professionalized and modernized. And that is the SG that they were looking for. And that's how they ended up opting for me. So, look, I have a very a slim mandate that I'm pursuing. I know that what I must do is that I must make sure that by the next Congress, I must return the SG's office to the delegates. without having split the party. I must make sure that by that time we have a president that is in State House. I must make sure that by that time we have a strong, modern, efficient party that is able to deal with the current challenges that the country is facing. So, in brief, those are the issues that the delegates sought to correct when they went to Congress. They know the challenges, they know the problems, they know what they wanted. That's why they elected me. Many people didn't agree with our Congress delegates, but I can assure you that in the fullness of time, the correctness of their decision to elect me is going to be shown. One, by our performance in the next election, and also by our capacity to transfer power from losers, because our problem has never been winning elections. We always win elections, but we want for the first time now for power to be transferred from losers and to be given to the winners. So this is what we are working for. Indeed, like any other political party, we have our own fair share of problems. Our president, the late President Morgan Frankrai, died in office. We did not anticipate that to happen. We were in the middle of preparing for an election, and he was our presidential candidate. So obviously, because of that, we had no clear succession plan. We had 3 vice presidents, and the result was that we had some challenges. But the National Council, the party organs, were able to rise above those challenges and gave us direction, gave us a leader. They elected President Nelson Chamisa to take over from our late icon, and that is what happened. And that decision, the correctness of that decision, was later to be confirmed by the actual voters, because for the first time, the MDC doubled its vote share. We got 2.6 million, more than double what President Frankrai had achieved in the last election. So that confirmed the correctness of the decision that was made by the organs of the party to choose Advocate Chamisa to be the president, replacing President Frankrai. And from the time that President Frankrai, Chamisa then assumed office, we had very few problems. We went to Congress, managed to raise funds, very limited resources, but we managed to have a very successful Congress where people were elected, and some people didn't make it. And as you have seen, the majority of people that didn't make it in Gweru are the same people that have now led an exodus, that have now started leaving the party, for reasons that are known to themselves, reasons that we respect. Because look, the constitution of Zimbabwe itself allows people for freedom of association, and people leave for various reasons. But you can see the pattern of those people that are leaving, that most of them are leaving because they did not make it at the last Congress. But after the Congress, the president extended an olive branch to everyone, appointed people, almost everyone who had failed to make it, were appointed into the National Standing Committee, given various tasks to help the president run the party, and that is what we did. And from there, we then faced serious problems that everyone knows. The state then trying to disseminate the MDC, and we started the project of creating an alternative opposition party, the Monzora Group. Took our offices, took our members of parliament, but we are here with over 20 cases in court. We are fighting politically, we are fighting legally to retain what is owed to us, to retain the members of parliament that were voted by voters in 2018, and also to retain the people mandate that was given to Advocate Chamisa in 2018. So that's where we are. We have problems both internally and externally. I've been in MDC since its formation as a very senior member. When the MDC was formed, I was coming from the student movement as the Secretary General of ZINASU, and ZINASU is one of the major stakeholders in MDC. I don't remember Mrs. Linda Masarira ever being a member of the MDC. So I'm not sure which corrupt MDC she's talking about. But I know that she briefly became a member of the MDCT led by Thokozani Khupe, where she was elected a spokesperson until she was ejected because she was captured in a ZANU-PF regalia. That's as far as I know. So I can't speak on behalf of MDCT, which Mrs. Linda Masarira was president, was a member of, and the experience, the corrupt experience that she experienced in that party. I cannot talk on behalf of, well, I've never been a member of that entity. But what I know is that the MDC, yes, in the past, faced the serious challenges. Challenges in terms of financial accountability. I will not come here and pretend that things have not been bad. Things have been bad at some point, but when we came into office, those are the same things that we sought to correct. And for the first time, we managed to engage independent outside auditors to look into the books of the MDC. And last year, we produced, for the very first time since the MDC was formed, an audited statement that gave us a clean bill of health in terms of how the finances were being managed. So that's as far as the current MDC that is led by Advocate Chamisa is known. There's never been cases of financial misappropriation or corruption. This can be confirmed by the audit report that we made public, which is currently now on our website. Anyone can download and anyone can scrutinize it. But it was audited by professional public auditors. Thank you. Again, I will not speak on her experience with Advocate Nelson Chamisa. I know Advocate Chamisa since the first time that I met him in 1995. He's a God-fearing man. He's a prophet. He's a man of God. He's a politician. He's a very professional man. He's an advocate at law. And anyone that has been led by Advocate Chamisa can testify that the biggest complaint that we have with him is that his open door policy is too exaggerated. He will meet everyone who, from people that are in the branches. He speaks to everyone in the provinces. He speaks to everyone. Sometimes before he calls you, what we have now learned is that when he asks you something, you must just be truthful, because he will call you after he has spoken to someone who is in Kwazana, for instance, who is in the branches. So he's open. He talks to everyone. When he chairs the meeting, he doesn't make the decisions. As far as I'm concerned, he allows the meeting to make decisions. And our main complaint with him is that he's too democratic for a leader of an opposition political party. This has been our complaint, and he has refused to listen to our pleas, And so I don't know the experience that Mrs. Linda has with the Advocate Chamisa, but I know him differently, so I can only speak on the part that I know. Yes, of course, we have councillors that have been in office since 2000, and I will tell you one thing also again. When President Chamisa was elected, at our Congress in Gweru, he introduced to the National Council the concept that every position holder must serve only for 2 terms. We are still now working modalities on how that is going to be implemented, but that decision was already made by the delegates that councillors, if you are appointed into a public office, you must serve for 2 terms. After 2 terms, give other people a chance, as well as the members of parliament. I can't be a member of parliament forever. Look at the people that that left the MDC. We have got Mashakata, for instance, has been a member of parliament since 2000. He is now unpopular with the structures. The last election, I don't know how he managed to win. And when he saw that he was unpopular, he then left and tried to reinvent himself in another political party. I'm sure he still wants to run again. We have got Mpariwa, who is now the Secretary General, the MP since 2000. We don't believe in that. We are a new crop of leaders. We have introduced constitutional changes to make sure that public offices are given time limits, and that thing is coming. So I don't want to speak on what has happened before we took over, but under the leadership of Advocate Nelson Chamisa, there will be no MPs that will be in the office for more than 2 terms. There will be no councillors that will be in office for more than 2 terms. So that's the MDC that we now have and we are leading. Look, the MDC is a big political party. If anyone wants to join, they are free to come and join the party, and that includes people that have left the party with Madam Khupe. It includes people that have left the party with Douglas Monzora at Crew. They can come back as long as they subscribe to the MDC constitution, as long as they subscribe to the MDC ideology, and as long as they are genuine in their fight for change, in their fight for a true people's government in Zimbabwe. They are welcome. What is not going to be guaranteed going forward is red carpet treatment for people that split the party for any other reason other than to come back on a red carpet in the big tent, then sitting at the front row. That is not going to happen. If you are joining, you are going to join like everyone else. In terms of the constitution, you start at the branch. Then the people will elevate you until you reach wherever you reach. So that's as far as that is concerned. Exactly, but look, I don't want to talk about Mr. Monzora. I know he's now a president of another entity that was created by Comrade Mnangagwa. For the reasons why they created that entity, it's for everyone to speculate on. But what I know, as a matter of fact, is that Mr. Monzora, when he was still in the MDC, has never supported Advocate Nelson Chamisa. That's why you see he changes his statements. When he was still there, he was still the Secretary General. When the first constitutional amendment was presented, when President Tsvangirai was still president, to introduce additional vice president, he was there on Studio 7 media confirming the correctness of the amendment. Later on, he was then to launch Nicodemously a court challenge with that guy from Gweru, challenging that same decision. He funded that Mashavira guy. We had the evidence, but for now it's no longer in doubt, and challenged that decision. And they got a judgment that has led us to where we are today. So I don't agree with Timvias, for instance, when he said Monzora left the MDC because of Hwende. I was not a major player by that time. They make a decision. He's the SG. They communicate. Then if Nicodemus funds Mashavira to go and challenge President Trangrai's decision, embarrassed the man when he was no longer there to defend himself and defend his decision, and they got that the order which they got by default, which has caused these problems that we are having. So they had a plan that they started.